What?
Red 7!
I don't know what Red 7 means.
Hot route!
I don't. What is hot route?
Will you just go stand on the other side, please?
Down!
Come on.
Ready, down, set, hut, 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 hut!
Hit me! Booyah! That's what we call a sack lunch. Nom, 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 nom.
It's time for the Soonerscoop.com postgame show presented by Eskridge Lexus in Oklahoma City. Eskridge Lexus is the official travel partner of Soonerscoop.com podcasts. Now, here's your road crew, Carrie, Eddie, and Bob, wrapping up all the action and reaction from this week's game.
All right, welcome back. It is the Eskridge Lexus postgame podcast. Your crew, your postgame crew is here. Carrie Murdoch, Eddie Radosevich, and George Stoya. And I promise, George, now that the regular season's over, I'll get the intros changed for you, okay?
I'll believe it when I see it.
We are here. We're laughing. OU wins it 69-45. Eddie looks like a Unabomber right now, and he's 2 beers deep. He's pulled the hoodie up.
4 beers deep.
Oh, my God.
I've had 4.
Did you get a 12-pack or a 6?
A 6-pack, but I was not
There's extra
aware
in the
that
back.
there are beers back there.
Yeah, there's extra in the back.
All right,
George and I
good.
haven't been able to fill up the waters because of all your beer back there.
That's fine. We don't need water.
I drink a lot of water.
I
these
think that
days.
I think
You also
to
hang out
say
with
that-
Josh Gideon. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, he won't be back on OU's campus anytime soon, will he?
Well, maybe. I mean, he might have to.
They're of age on
Yeah.
campus. Maybe he needs to be on campus more.
Yeah,
is what
that's
the
exactly
solution
right.
is.
That's exactly right.
All right, Sooners win it 69-45. Guys, it was...
They gave up 45 and won by 24.
They gave up 22 points in the third quarter.
Abomination is
They
what
had
Brent Venables said after the game.
221 yards in the first half. Then they come out in the third quarter. They gained 228 yards of total offense and scored 22 points. Luckily, the Sooners scored 10 in the third, too, because that kept them at arm's length. And they never got closer to other than 2 scores, but at the same time, it just wasn't pretty. It was uneven. It was messy. It was kind of like you felt kind of like you did after yesterday eating too much stuffing and turkey. It was just like you just felt kind of gross.
Do you think? I mean, and I honestly don't know what the issues are with the defense because they just haven't been very good the last few weeks now. Is it a product of? Are they just getting like worn down at the end of the year? Like I don't know what's going. Like the linebackers have just been
are the problem
terrible.
today. Yeah, I mean
the last 2 weeks.
And it was like
even Danny's not been good.
No, and he got yelled at quite a bit today.
Yeah,
going over the sidelines, missed some. I think the quarterback keep for a touchdown. It was largely his fault. And Brent let him know that it was all the linebackers' fault. I mean, they all
Kanik wasn't good
bit on the run, and
Kip wasn't good.
And here's the thing: Kip was really good in relief, and then he came in as a starter, and he was good for a game. But then, like BYU, it just wasn't like what was the game where we were like Kanik played really well in the second half? I think
West Virginia.
That was the West Virginia game. And since then, it's just kind of like falling apart. It's like they lost their groove at the linebacker position.
Yeah, and I don't think safeties are filling the running lanes very well either, but it boils down to the linebackers. And I actually thought the defensive line played okay today. I just think they're not filling the gaps, right? And I don't really know. And it's funny. Well, I guess not funny, but like Brent talked about that all week, and they didn't fix it. So I don't know what what to do.
It was awful.
I like exasperated George. Like on the, he's just like they didn't fix it. Why?
I don't know. I mean, it just made I don't know. It's just and they had what's crazy about this game too is they weren't good early, and then they really settled down in the second quarter, and they got 3 or 4 stops in a row. And OU took advantage. I mean, the offense was incredible today, and they took advantage of it. But then they just came back out really flat in the third quarter.
I actually felt like what is that? A soothsayer that predicts things, or is that? I know it's Nostradamus.
I think a soothsayer can do that. Yeah.
Anyway, I was like, well, this happened in the Iowa State game in the first quarter, and then they fixed it in the second, and that's exactly what happened. But that third quarter never happened against Iowa State, and you could see. I mean, at one point you were just like, man. Amani Bailey is like 1 tackle away from breaking a big one, and then he goes for 32 up the middle, just untouched, basically.
Yeah, it just happened so quickly. Like that was the point too, Carrie. That all of a sudden you led by 4 scores at halftime, and then you look up and it's a 14-point ball game. And I was telling George on the way over here, it's like they go into that 4th and 1, and if you don't go for there, who knows what happens?
I wouldn't have blamed Brent Venables for punting at that point of the game.
No, I would have 1,000% gone for it.
I would
because
have absolutely.
They weren't
thought
stopping
it was
anybody.
They got a 40-yard
should be able
play
to get
off
anything
of it,
that they wanted.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
it was a great. Dylan was
great. The offense
today.
was excellent today. Absolutely excellent.
Almost like trying to put it on a resume.
Interesting. No, they were great, and I know that we'll get to the Jeff Lebby Mississippi State stuff here in a second.
Who?
Dylan.
No, he could be,
but not playing at Oklahoma.
Not at Oklahoma.
Can we stop that too?
It's like everybody's picking at it.
It was asked after the game. It was asked after the game. Like,
he's not coming back.
Come on, folks. It's
also,
over.
If you're Dylan,
I love Dylan, but it's over. He threw me under the bus, but it's over.
Dylan, yeah, he did throw you under the bus.
He included you. I don't think he threw you under the bus.
No, I'm kidding. I enjoyed it greatly.
He said that you tripped Brent Venables in there.
Which is a moment. That was a moment.
I saw it. I saw it happen.
I had no idea that it was going on, but I did wonder. Like afterwards, I was like,
everybody was jumping around and skipping.
And why did it take so long to get it out of the tunnel?
Yeah, because he was the first one out. What happened was he tripped over Isaiah Coe.
Oh, okay.
And so he fell, and then no one saw it because he was in the smoke. So no one saw him go down.
And they were just stepping on the back of his head?
They were they were trampling him. I was watching it through my binoculars, and it happened for a while. I mean, he got fallen over several times. And then
some of us have tech in the first half today.
Yeah, I know
just
you're
got
watching.
An interception, and we're watching the game.
And then afterwards,
that's actually a big pick because
God damn it,
they were on their way to being down 14-0.
Distracted.
George, we're watching the Texas game. What are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about the OU game?
Yes, he's talking about how Brent Venables survived with his life.
Yes, and
bore us with your story.
Anyways, Isaiah Coe went up and apologized afterwards.
After they ran out.
They gave a big hug, yes, on the sideline.
It was funny, like listening to Brent talk about it after the game. He compared it to like getting trampled at a concert.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I mean, I think he legitimately thought he might die at one point.
There's no way.
No, the way that he described it, I think he legitimately thought he could die.
If there's like 5 football players on top of you, like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's getting suffocated. Back to Dillon, though. We were talking about Dillon. I don't know what we were talking about, but he was
Eddie,
great.
just derailing the pod.
We got to get it over. We got to get it over. Like,
oh yes,
stop talking about him coming back.
If he's coming back,
and stop alluding to it. But I will say that Dillon could shut this shit down as soon as he wanted to.
Yeah, but I mean, Brent also pretty much shut it down. He was asked about it too, and he was like, "Everything has its time.
Yeah,
it's over."
Yeah,
I mean, and that's nothing against Dillon. Like, if you're Dillon, why would you come back? You had the best season of your career. Like, you're not going to improve your draft stock any more than you have this year.
You're right. He's in a perfect position to go to the NFL. Whatever version of Dillon Gabriel was going to head to the NFL one day, this is about as good as it's going to get for him. So,
and I told George that, like, coming back to college would do really truly nothing. Like, you're what am I trying to say here? Like, he's done everything that he can do in college.
And he had a great year. I mean,
he had an excellent
year. He's going to finish as a prolific.
Where's he going to go with that type of offensive line, that type of, as it ended up, run game at the end of the year with Gavin Sawchuk, 4 straight 100-yard games.
Well,
and a bevy of receivers, and man, Jaden Gibson was fantastic today. Nick Anderson, I thought, took another step today. But, it was slow to start with Drake Stoops, but good to see him be the leading receiver when it was all said and done.
I thought it was awesome, too, that Dillon, like, we completely kind of skipped over the fact that he started the game today. He played, which was surprising.
Which, by the way, for all the trolls out there, he did have a concussion. That was confirmed, and he was not cleared until Thursday. So all the other stuff that's been reported out there is BS. But
and
literally
by the way,
yesterday.
That goes against everything that we've ever seen or heard about concussions. Like,
I think it was a very mild concussion.
I think it was probably one of those deals where the doctors were like, look, we're not going to clear him to go out. And Dillon was like, I'm fine. I'm not.
On last Saturday.
Right, last Saturday. I think it was one of those deals where they saw something and they didn't like it, and they said, for precautionary reasons, we're not going to allow him to play in this game. So I don't think it was a severe concussion.
Yeah.
but I think it was something where a doctor saw something and he was troubled.
He's also the type of guy, he's played so much college football that he didn't get it, because I know for a fact he didn't get any of the reps this week in practice.
Yeah.
But he's played so much in this offense that he didn't need to get the reps either.
Absolute gamer. It was just cool that he gets to finish this thing kind of
He also
how
threw
I
some
think
of his
everybody
best-
wanted to do.
Yeah, he threw some of his best passes today.
I thought the throw to Brennan Thompson was
How about the one to
incredible.
Gibson? The
Yeah,
Gibson
that was
one
a
Yeah,
good
is
throw.
in the first quarter.
that might have been his best ball all year.
The,
I thought it was great.
The Gibson touchdown was the most polarizing thing of the
That was
year.
funny.
Because some
He just
people thought it
walked
was
in, right?
He started
pointed to the crowd.
celebrating as he was before he was over the goal line, and a guy was literally grabbing his jersey.
Yeah.
Like, some people thought it was the most awesome touchdown that they've ever seen in touchdown celebrations, and the other half of Twitter thought it was totally disrespectful and could have ended up in a really, I don't
Sure.
know how it would have ended up in a bad place, but
Well, he could have got the ball knocked out of his hand or
He
something.
could have
and all of a
Leon
sudden-
Letted it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, no, Dillon Gabriel, we're just going to live our lives as Jackson Arnold will be the next quarterback at Oklahoma as long as he doesn't follow Jeff Lebby to Mississippi State.
Now, how about this for a scenario? That's one I 1,000%.
You know somebody's going to listen to this and he's gone.
He's gone, yeah. He's not. I don't think he's going anywhere. Jackson
We'll
Arnold,
see.
that is. But hey, let's say here's a scenario for you. If he does, would you be like, "Hey, Gabriel, you want to come back for another year?"
Yeah, if you're if you're the head coach or whatever, and knowing the relationship, I think that you would have to say, "Hey, I know this is kind of selfish, but would you want to come join me?"
Look, George and I were talking about
Wait,
this
are you
earlier.
talking about Arnold or are you talking about Gabriel
Gabriel.
in Mississippi State?
Yes.
Oh, see, no, I'm saying, what if Arnold went to Mississippi State? Does Brent say to Dillon, "Hey, you want to come back?"
Oh, I mean, I think it would be, and maybe this is just the homer statement of the year. I would wonder about Jackson Arnold's decision, process.
Oh no, I agree.
If he
I'm not
went
saying
to
he.
Mississippi
I don't think
State.
he'll go. I don't think either one of them's going.
It's
to Mississippi
more
State.
likely that Kevin Sperry would leave to go with him, I think.
or
than-
Michael
his
Hawkins
commitment
or
anyway.
Zerberg or
Yeah.
whatever the
But
kid's name is.
Well, let's just talk about it. I mean, I think that the Lebby stuff is out there. It's outside of the game. It's the biggest story out there on the Oklahoma beat right now, and there's some validity to Jeff Lebby and
But
the
I think we have a
interest in
pretty good grasp
Starkville.
on what's going on.
Sure,
To
yeah.
this point. As
100%.
At 7:25 or 7:22 p.m. on Friday night.
Yeah. Lay it out there, George.
He has interviewed for the job. I've confirmed that. He interviewed for it on Wednesday, and he is a serious candidate. He's been on their list, but from my understanding, he has not been offered the job. I know there's some people out there that think this is a done deal. As of right now, it's not, and I don't think it will be tonight. I mean, I do think we could find out more in the next 24 to 48 hours, but nothing's a done deal. And then, I asked Brent about it after the game, and he was like, "Hey, I'm always about my guys getting whatever opportunity they can." And then Jeff was asked about it, and he was like, "I'm focused on right now." I mean, basically, neither of them denied that he's up for the job. And Dillon spoke highly of him if he thought, he could be a head coach. So we'll see, but nothing's a done deal right now. And I do think there's a sense from within OU that, they'd like to keep Jeff. I know there's some people out there they're pushing Jeff out the door. I don't.
They have a system in place to deal with Jeff getting, like the Alabama thing, when those things started flying out there, and another program started sniffing around saying, "Could we get Jeff Lebby to come here?" OU has a system in place to where he could get a raise to keep people at bay. Now, head coach is a totally different situation. You're not going to outpay someone at a head coaching job in the SEC. You're just not. Here are the key dates, and this is Zach Selman. If people don't know, he was Joe Castiglione's basically right-hand man for years at Oklahoma. He took the Mississippi State athletic director job, and he is out there actively looking for his next coach because they got rid of, I can't even remember his name now. He's the defensive coordinator for Mike Leach, and they went ahead and terminated him before the season was over. Arnett?
Yeah. Zach Arnett.
Zach Arnett.
Defensive guy.
So December 4th is when the transfer portal opens. So if you're talking about when does this stuff have to get decided, December 20th is the early signing date. So you certainly want to get someone hired as quickly as possible, but it's not mandatory that you get somebody by the end of this weekend.
Sure. And I just think that they want to get this job basically filled. I mean, I think that they don't want to wait, they being Mississippi State. Kerry, if Zach wasn't in Starkville, I don't think that we'd even be talking about this.
No.
And that's
Well,
why
I mean,
that's
it's
why like
possible.
I go
I mean,
through well
If it was like somebody that had ties to like Ole Miss or
Sure,
something, like a
sure.
York, type.
and maybe that's how
protege or
that's how
something.
hires at the baseline. That's how they get done, knowing people.
You hire people that you know and,
Sure.
and have good background on and
I just
comfortable
don't.
with.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like a good fit, if that makes sense. And as I say that, I'm sure that maybe he ends up at Mississippi State. It just doesn't seem like with Jackson and everything that Oklahoma has going for itself right now. I don't know.
Mississippi State is a job that generally attracts like coordinators that have been lifelong coordinators. Like, was it the Kroom guy, Sylvester Kroom? Was that his name?
Yeah.
I mean, like he's a guy that people love him. You know,
Yeah.
he's a good coordinator. He's a good recruiter.
Well, it definitely didn't work out for Moorhead.
Right. It didn't work out for him. And then, so like Jeff Lebby is not that lifelong guy. He's the young guy.
Yeah.
Now, who can you attract at Mississippi State? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how good of a candidate you can get in there.
Sure.
So it might be that Lebby ends up, if he's their third choice or fourth choice, it might be that they end up not being able to get their other choices and it falls to him.
And that's what I was just about to say. It's my understanding he's not their first choice. And I do think it was Chadwell from Liberty who I think pulled out of the job. And he might end up getting a better job as it is. We'll see what other jobs open up. But
Well, and we were talking about this. You mentioned Arkansas is likely to come open. I mean,
maybe.
They got beat
I mean, I know
terribly.
they've already reported that Pittman is coming back, but my God, they got blown out by Missouri at home today. They finished 4-8 this season. I just don't know why Arkansas would stick with Pittman. But, the A&M job's open. Who knows what they're going to do? It still feels like, and you see this often in college football, is you wait for the first domino. It feels like A&M, people are kind of waiting to see what A&M's going to do. And they haven't, A&M obviously hasn't made a decision yet. We're all watching the Texas Tech game. Totally sidetracked here.
Hey, we're
What was
powering
that?
through it. We're powering through it. It was a halfback pass that was thrown short, and it went right into Texas
I think
defense's
Tech
chest.
just had like a 10-yard punt.
Sarkisian, I mean, he has some of the same problems Lebby does. He tries to get too cute sometimes. You're Texas.
All these guys do.
Don't
You're
you guys
Texas. Go just run over Texas Tech, man. You're in the red zone.
Don't you guys think though that like some of this is this? I know everybody's saying this is happening really fast with Lebby, and I know that one of the Mississippi State sites, I think for 247's been kind of the leader in all this reporting stuff. It feels like though that a lot of people are waiting for the Texas A&M job to get filled before. Like, could you guys see that where it's like
A&M goes first and then the dominoes
But
start.
I
to
think
see-
I don't
I don't
think
know.
I don't think they're swimming in the same gene pool, if you know what I mean. I mean
no.
Like you hear some Matt Rule stuff with Texas A&M. I mean, he's certainly not leaving Nebraska to go to Mississippi
Sure.
State.
How about the Ryan Day stuff that you've heard?
Yeah, the Ryan Day stuff is out there.
With A&M?
Oh yeah.
Like, is that real, though?
There's a lot
or
of
is
smoke.
that just Twitter?
To me, it reeks of Ryan Day doesn't feel he's as appreciated as he should be at Ohio
He
State.
probably isn't. Now, they go win tomorrow, he will be.
Sure, well, it's all about losing to Michigan
You
last
can't
couple of
lose
years.
to Michigan. Yeah, exactly. You can't lose to Michigan the last 2-3 years and then feel like you're getting scapegoated or
underappreciated,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's probably one of those. I mean, I would say, Mr. Auburn. Just
Also,
hits
but I also want to say to the OU fans out there that are like already celebrating if Jeff leaves, like, and I've been as critical of Jeff Lebby as anybody, but what OU's done offensively this year should not be taken for granted. Like, they're going to finish top 10 in nearly every quarter category, and I get it. Shit went bad at certain times this season, and some of that falls on Jeff, but you look around the country, it's hard to find really good offensive play callers, and Jeff has become a pretty good one, and he's recruited really well for OU. I mean, he has his hand in all
Well,
these guys. Like,
let me say what you're saying. The people that do really love to just go in on the offense coordinator. It doesn't matter who it would be.
Yeah, they're going
to go in on him, and they're fucking idiots. Okay?
I mean, look, the play call, I've said this for years. Play calling is the biggest scapegoat that fans use in all of football. It's like, and it's the people say, I can tell you when he's going to run and I can tell you when he's going to pass even before the ball snapped. Bullshit. You can't either.
Wow. I mean, it's ridiculous. What OU's done offensively this year should be celebrated. But at the same time, like you said, George, it cost them games. It cost them games in Lawrence. It cost them games in Stillwater. And that's why this season has become a little bit of, not disappointing. I think you just look back and you go, if you could have won in Lawrence, all you had to do was pick up 10 yards. Or if you could have scored in the third quarter against OSU, you're in much better shape than you are right now. You're headed to a Big 12 championship.
Yeah, and
maybe something bigger.
Yeah, and some of that is obviously on Jeff, but there's other things that happen this year that are not on Jeff, and it goes back to, Dillon doesn't throw a pick 6 to start the game in Lawrence. Yeah. Andrew Rame has a good snap in Stillwater.
Javonte Barnes catches the football.
Yeah, Javonte Barnes plays football like he has
before. Or they
before.
just don't
like,
snap it to him.
Yeah.
It's just...
No, sure.
It's things
and
that...
that's play calling.
Look, and I get it, like... There's been probably 15 to 20 play calls this year that you could look back on and be like, man, if you switch that play call, things change, but change the outcome of the game. But they didn't happen. And again, I still think OU's offense is good enough.
Yeah.
And they're really good at times.
It's starting to come together a little bit, and especially with Jaden and Nick Anderson starting to become bigger threats.
And you've got the run game figured out now.
Yeah, like Gavin Sawchuk has been incredible over the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
He's been really, really good.
And that's why I just these fans that are so upset with him or like being happy that he's leaving, I just wouldn't celebrate just yet. Not that you can't go out and get another guy.
What are those people exactly celebrating? You know?
Yeah. I don't know.
I think
they just want a scapegoat for what happened this season.
Sure.
People always want an easy answer to when things go wrong.
Sure. And at the end of the day, though,
and look, let's also just be totally honest. Jeff is somewhat an easy target, right? When you consider his past, people are already mad at him because of what happened at Baylor.
Sure.
And so he becomes
an easy son-in-law.
Yeah, I mean he's an easy target. It's the same stuff at TCU with Kendall Briles.
At the end of the day, though, Oklahoma won 10 games this year, and I think that in August, every person that had a little grasp of reality would have said, what a turnaround. What a year this is.
From 6-7 to 10-2. I mean,
they could win 11. They could win 12 if they somehow sneak into the Big 12 championship.
We said 9 would be the one thing that would show this program going in the right direction.
Yeah, that was like the bottom floor.
Yeah.
Like,
and they beat
you
Texas.
have to go win 9 games. You beat Texas. The Kansas loss sucks. Losing the final Bedlam sucks. But at the same time, it feels like the trajectory of the program is still progressing in the right direction.
It comes down to this. Like, and I see this, and it's one of those things, we all think it a little bit, but to like verbalize it and bring it into existence. When you say, and I hear this a lot, well, watching the offense against West Virginia and then today, all it does is make me more mad about Kansas and Oklahoma State.
Oh yeah,
that's
fair.
No way to live your life.
But it's fair.
It's fair, but it shouldn't make you mad. It just shows you that it's impossible for this team in particular, with the limitations that they have. It's not a perfect roster. I mean,
correct.
They've had to rebuild this thing. It's not from the ground up, but I mean, it is a lot of youngsters, a lot of people that haven't played before. I mean, think about it. Your key receivers today, 2 of them are in their second year in the program. And then Drake Stoops has been here forever. But, Jalil Farooq just really didn't do much today. I mean, I
think he should come back.
He has to come back. I mean, he's...
Farooq. Yeah. I also think the way Danny's played the last couple of weeks,
he needs to
come back.
Oh, the only guy that I really, truly think has a decision to make is Billy Bowman.
And I think he should come back too, because I think he's right on the edge.
Listen to what Brent said or on Monday, right?
He's on the edge of being from like a 4th round pick to being like a 2nd round pick. And if he comes back, he could be an All-American.
He should be a Thorpe finalist. He has a chance to go win the Thorpe Award. Same thing with Danny. Come back, you can win a Butkus, or at least be a finalist.
Well, and that's the thing about this team, going back to what Kerry was saying. They're a good team. A great team obviously wins the Kansas game or OSU game. They find
They're
a
not
way.
there yet.
But they're not there yet. But the positive is, look how many guys you watch Senior Day, and there's a lot of seniors out there. But you also look how many guys are playing that are young guys. Kip Lewis, PJ Atabare played a ton today. Peyton Bowen, like they've got you mentioned Nick Anderson, Jaden Gibson. And so if you can get a Farooq, a Billy Bowman, Danny Stutsman back, this could be a really good football team next year. You look at the offensive line.
And
how
it's a
about
good foundation.
Jacob Sexton, Caden Green?
Okay,
How about
let's
the
go
Sexton
into
stuff?
Yeah, let's go into the little conspiracy here with Tyler Guyton.
Tyler Guyton played today. Like
Here's
literally benched him.
Here's my thought on it. I think Tyler wasn't committing to saying, like, I think he was 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and Brent said, screw that. We're playing the kid that's the future and wants to play. And I think that I don't know that for a fact.
My guess is he probably, the doctors probably said he's fine to go, and he might have done one of those I'm not ready. Kind of a Deshaun, no, I don't know, that's a bad name, Deshaun Watson.
And I'm sure he told him, hey, I'm leaving. And so Brent said, well, okay, well, then we're playing the guy.
They have known since the beginning of the season that this was his last year.
Yeah.
He and his people decided that. They let the coaching staff know. And you know how Bill Bedenbaugh is. I mean, there might have been a little bit of rift that developed because of that. And if he wasn't doing the things, which is surprising to me because what we know of Tyler Guyton, he's a great teammate. You know, he's a guy that seems to love, being on a team in a locker room. But, I mean, obviously things happen and you get people around you get in your ear. Maybe it kind of went sideways a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. I just think Brent strikes me as the type of guy that's like, okay, you're not going to play. We're going to play the young guy. Mm-hmm. And Jacob Sexton's come in and played great. But Guyton's going to be a first-round pick. I mean, that's the reality. But also, I mean, maybe
he was. This could hurt him.
I was about to say, this might hurt his stock by doing this. But I think he'll also go test really well, and somebody will take him. It doesn't. I mean, you had the one guy. What year was it that the one guy was smoking the night? He was smoking all that weed the night he got drafted.
Oh, it's a kid from Miss
Tunsil or whatever.
Laramie
Tunsil.
Yeah.
Badass.
So, yeah.
Gas mask.
It hasn't really affected him because he's been awesome.
So, I mean, Guyton kind of sitting out these games, I don't think will hurt him. And
it might be one of those things where he was like banged up, not 100%. And he was just like, I don't feel comfortable. And they're like, fine, we've got another guy we'll play.
I don't know. I can't think of anyone else, though, that went through senior day that was surprising. I guess Trace Ford, DJ Terry, two guys that could come back. I don't know.
Key Lawrence went through.
I think Trace is so close with his mom that, he didn't want to deny her that. Like, he might come back, but, like, why not share this moment with your mom and, your family?
Yeah.
Who, he knows how much crap his mom takes on social media because he turned his social media off. But he knows, like, his mom can't turn hers off and she can't stop paying attention. So he's just very... I know this is weird, but we have him on every week on the radio, so we talk about all kinds of stuff. But he's very protective of her. And I think he.
By the way, Spinozzi came over here. He is so much taller than I thought.
He is
tall.
He is a tall man.
He came over. I gave him a nice check for his OK City Center drive.
I was like shocked how tall he was.
I mean, he's 6'4". Legit.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's just a big giant man with a big booming voice.
Yeah, 100%.
So anyway, 69 points today. And it really wasn't for
Made a couple of field goals today.
Oh my God. I was scared to tweet out field goals because it just turned into a shit show on the mentions.
What has become of Gavin Freeman back there at punt return?
Oh, that is.
What was he doing?
I feel like he's pressing.
He is pressing
very hard and trying to do too much.
Ridiculously hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just he's
in his head, and I mean, I'm surprised they let him field another punt after. I was
shocked that they ran him back out there.
I thought it was going to be Stoops.
I thought it was going to be Bunkley Shelton, but
yeah.
I didn't think it was going to be Gavin though.
Crazy. Yeah, they got to figure out special teams in the offseason.
Well, there's some guys on the team, and I think Gavin Freeman's one of them. I don't even want to remember his name. Zach Schmidt. That was a weird burp. It was a hiccup. That was a laugh hiccup.
Here's the thing about fans.
But here's the thing. Let me get at this. They have a few people with confidence problems on this team, and Brent's all about. I think he seems like he's all about trying to rebuild guys when they lose their confidence, when he knows they have ability. But at the same time, you might just be better to take some games off. Work it out on the practice field, not on the game field. I mean, we're at this point. It's the end of the regular season, so it doesn't really matter that much. You're going to play, in whatever bowl game. By the way, real quick, it's 10-7, I believe now, and I think Tech scored.
Yes.
So just run this past me because there's been so many things. Texas wins tonight. What's OU's only scenario to get
Iowa State.
Iowa State.
If
Oklahoma
OSU,
State has to lose.
I'm pretty sure if OSU loses.
Oh yeah, if BYU
If
beats
just
Oklahoma State,
OSU loses, they'd still get it,
OU's in the Big 12 championship.
even if
sure.
Texas wins.
Even if Texas wins, but if Texas loses, you have to have Iowa State go to Manhattan tomorrow
Correct.
night in what is supposed to be an absolute blizzard.
Really?
Yeah. It's supposed to
Interesting.
snow a couple inches up in Manhattan.
I would say that favors Kansas State probably.
I think it.
Farmageddon. It's going to be crazy either way,
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, I don't expect BYU to go to Stillwater and win. The weather's supposed to be shitty, but I don't expect that to happen. You almost need two teams to lose over the
I
course
still
of the
think
next
I still
24
think
hours.
I think I actually disagree with you. I think still their best shot is BYU. I think BYU.
I think BYU's terrible.
I think BYU's terrible too, but they play hard, and OSU likes to screw around.
Yeah, but
I also
OSU's
just
at
don't
home.
think OSU's very good.
But they're better at home.
That to me, the OSU loss, I think, was the more damning loss this year for OU than the Kansas loss.
and
Well,
there
and there
goes
goes Texas. Yep.
So again, with the Texas win, what's the best thing that should
OSU
happen?
has to lose.
OSU has to lose.
I don't. To be clear, I don't think OSU's going to lose. I do think though that game could be closer than a lot of people. I think the spread's like, what is it, 16.5 or something?
What?
The OSU
Yeah,
BYU game.
16.5.
I think
17.
BYU will cover that.
I don't.
You also just picked Tech to cover this game. They might get blown out. So how good of a gambler are you, Eddie?
Very good, actually.
Sounds like he's doing pretty good.
Very
this year.
good.
At least he's putting on that front that he is.
I'll show the receipts if we have to.
You don't want to show your boss your gambling receipts. Trust me.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't care, but I think you would think less of me and go, why are you betting on these college basketball games on
You love
Tuesday
to
nights
bet
at
on college
10:30?
basketball.
Speaking of which,
I do.
how about the OU hoops team?
They're good. I
They're
think they're
athletic,
good.
man.
I think they're good.
I mean, the number 2 was in McMullen.
McMillan.
Javier
McCollum.
McCollum.
Yeah, Javier McCollum is a bucket getter.
He's really
hooper.
good, but the Moore guy is a
Jalen Moore is awesome.
fantastic
Yeah,
athlete.
he's
They
cool.
just haven't had a guy like him.
And,
No.
and the thing is, like, you get to see Owe actually be an athlete and
Well,
and running all over the
he's
floor.
gotten a lot better, too.
Yeah.
Offensively, he looks like
And
somebody now.
Hughley is just,
Oh, he's a beast.
Yeah.
He shot out of his mind tonight.
but still,
I think he had
but
three
they haven't had a
three-pointers
guy.
tonight.
Four.
Yeah, 4.
But they haven't
Four.
a guy. They haven't had a guy that big.
No.
and that
He's-
skilled.
no.
And
They
that big
haven't had
is-
a big guy like that in a long time.
He is like, what's the guy on the Pistons that bounces around, the big guy?
Piston?
Andre
Andre
Drummond.
Drummond. Yeah, he's like
He's on the
Andre
Bulls
Drummond
now.
I don't
type
think
of-
he's 7 foot. But
No,
he is
but I
a
mean,
good-
he's just a
he's
big
good player.
space eater. I mean,
Well, he's a guy that they haven't had that could get
He
rebounds.
reminds me of who was when Porter was at Loyola and they had that big white dude.
Cam. God, what was his name? Crutchwig.
He kind
or
of something like that. He kind of reminds me of that, where he's
Yeah.
just this big dude and he can
Yeah.
facilitate. He can shoot a little bit. Like
you know what we need to do? We need to get Danny Stutsman out there in a wheelchair because, he is communion. He could take over for Sister.
that was a hell of an Instagram caption this week, by the way. Which,
Danny, we were talking about Danny and how he's kind of taken a step back the last couple of weeks. I don't think there is anybody that needs this break.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it is. And, we'll see if they have to play in a Big 12 championship, but he is beat up.
yes,
Like he was out there
He was
at one
laboring
point
today.
last night or today and literally limping
Yeah.
around.
yeah, he's struggling, and he's been dealing with he'll never say it, but he's been dealing with like a shoulder stinger all year, where he'll get hit in a certain way, and he's always shaking
Yeah.
it off. And then
Cameron
I think
Crutwig is the guy you're thinking of, by the way.
yeah, and then the ankle. I think the ankle's still bothering him a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the Stinger thing was happening a lot earlier in the year.
Yeah.
You haven't really noticed it as much. I tell you one thing, I am just trying to figure out if we do travel to Dallas, I'm sure, or to Arlington, I'm sure that
San Antonio at the end of the month, maybe.
San Antonio, maybe Ed Eskridge will be taking care of us because Eskridge Lexus is the official travel partner of Sooner Scoop, and appreciate them so much for supporting us over the years. And they want you to know that they have the all-new Lexus TX SUV. I think I saw one in Dallas yesterday. They're pretty good-looking cars, man. They're massive. One of the biggest SUVs that they've ever built. And it's perfect for lugging around your stuff to road trips or tailgates or your next sporting event. And we want you to mention that you're a Sooner Scoop subscriber if you are looking for your next Lexus. And Eskridge Lexus will offer you a special discount on any new or even a pre-owned vehicle. A lot of times that's the way to go right now with the pre-owned vehicles. With the cost of used cars out there. And as always, they never have bogus extra charges like dock fees or force you to buy added accessories that you never wanted in the first place. So call or visit EskridgeLexus.com. That's EskridgeLexus.com, ESKRIDGE Lexus.com, and tell them Sooner Scoop sent you, and they will get you taken care of. We might have an offensive fest here in Austin tonight before this thing's all said and done. So, let's talk about that real quick. Bowl game. I mean, obviously, you got to find out what goes on in the Big 12 race, but it does seem like the Alamo is probably the most likely.
Yeah, they need some help. They're gonna have to jump
against maybe Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona would probably be who they'd play in the Alamo, but they need some help if they want to get into a New Year's Six. They need to either jump Penn State, Ole Miss, or Missouri, or.
What's Penn State doing right now?
They play Michigan State tomorrow.
Yeah, they're playing right now.
Oh, well, they're probably Michigan State's terrible.
13-0.
Yeah. So I just don't think it's going to happen. You know, you never say never, but the committee really hasn't respected OU a ton in the CFP rankings. So I don't. They need to get up to number 11 in the rankings to have a shot. Right now they're at 13, and obviously Ole Miss won last night against Mississippi State. Penn State's going to win, and then Missouri beat the hell out of Arkansas.
If you watch the Egg Bowl on Thursday night, you're a real college football writer.
I watched it.
I did too, but I just kept thinking, like, I can't believe that I'm watching this.
It was a good game till the fourth quarter.
They're bad. Mississippi State's bad.
But Ole Miss didn't look good either.
I don't think Ole Miss is very good.
I think how many of those teams that I just named would OU beat?
I think they would beat Penn State for sure.
I think they beat Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, I think, would be a really good football game.
Missouri's
and
better.
then, Missouri, I still can't figure out Missouri.
Luther Burden would destroy Oklahoma secondary.
I think he would destroy anybody's secondary.
I think OU would be able to score too.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it'd be a really good game. I think it'd be a really good game.
Be.
That'd be a
that's
really
where that's where OU is in that. OU is in the 8 to 13 range.
Yeah.
Like they are exactly where they're supposed to be.
I think it would be a really good Cotton Bowl.
Yes, that's why I would love for that to happen instead of freaking Tulane or somebody getting in. Like it just kind of.
Well, I think they've kind of
the Williams
earmarked that group of 5 team in the Cotton Bowl, haven't they? Or no, that's the Peach Bowl. The Peach Bowl that they've.
What do you mean?
Well, they could end up in either. It doesn't. It's up to the bowls. The bowls
right.
Can pick.
It's who gets the last pick, and I think the Peach Bowl gets the last pick, which would leave them with.
And
a
it'll
group of
probably
5.
end up being the winner of Tulane SMU, right?
Right. Which that could be a really good game.
Yeah, I think next week is going to be a lot of fun with all the conference championships.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be really interesting if Texas and Oklahoma State play. Since Mike Gundy earlier this year, he's like, I love it. I watch OU and OSU, and I don't have to take any. Or OU play Texas, I don't have to take any notes on Texas.
If Texas plays OSU in the Big 12 championship, I think Texas like minus 13.5 would be a really good bet. I don't think it would be much.
Oh, we got a punt block by Texas.
They're gonna run away with it. Good bet by Eddie though on Tech.
They're down by 10, George. And the first half line is 13.5.
I thought you took them 16.5.
I have that on a parlay.
Okay.
We did mention this earlier.
I am rooting for Eddie though.
It was
No,
really.
you're not. You basically have tried to f me.
It was kind of interesting listening to Brent Venables in the post game talk about, and Dillon Gabriel too, because this week was so messed up, and I mean, we're going to be messed up tomorrow when we wake up and it's not Sunday, and we realize.
I know
that.
it's been weird
It's
all
gonna
day.
be- It's gonna
I
be
woke
great,
up
though.
expecting to turn on College Game Day today, and it wasn't on. I was like, oh crap, it's because it's Friday. But like the whole scenario about when Dillon found out that he was cleared to play, and they were like, well, it was this week's Thursday,
Less than 24 hours ago.
and he had to they both had to realize, oh no, it really was Thursday. So he comes out there, didn't practice. I don't get the sense he practiced ever this week, did he?
No.
Not from what I understand.
That's also Brent. Like, he's been talking about this all week, how he even said on Monday, today's Tuesday, he's been throwing those like weird analogies out there.
Because they didn't have Sunday off, so that
Yeah.
became their Monday.
Yeah.
It's the most Brent thing ever to do that. Just totally change the names of the week.
I know every coach that has done that. Every
I know,
college
but
coach
Brent
has
to
always done
continue
that.
to bring it up all the time, it's just like that's a Brent thing. To just continue to like be like, yeah, oh no, today's Saturday. It's like, no, Brent, it's Friday.
I also thought it was interesting that Drake didn't come in the post-game interview session, and I wonder if that's just because he was worried he would get emotional with the
He's
questions
been
he would
weird
get
with media all year though. Like every time he's spoken to us too, like Mike Houck's like, he's only got 5 minutes, and I'm like,
Right.
where's he gotta go?
Well, it's like, he never liked media stuff when he was in high school. Like, we always talked to Isaac because he was the one that would talk for him. I remember even I went to their signing day, and Drake didn't say a whole lot. Like, Isaac did most of the talking, and he would do the talking for both of them. Like, he would name the schools that they're talking to and visits that Drake's going on and he's going on. He's just never been a guy that's comfortable around media since I've known him in high
He's
school.
great though. Every time we talk to him, he's fantastic.
He had the interview of the year. I
Yeah.
mean, the whole. If we were 0-8, I'd still go out there and try and win.
Yeah.
So did you see the video of him awarding Brent Venables the game ball in the postgame?
I haven't watched it yet.
It's really good.
That's awesome.
But he was the one that stood up and awarded the game ball to Brent Venables. Go check out OU Football's Twitter page. It's fantastic.
That's
It'll
really cool.
Put a little lump in your throat watching it.
Yeah.
It was.
I was almost
But it was the whole thing
emotional.
about when you talked to Bob and you were like, "Is it going to be emotional for you?" And by the way, your story was fantastic this week on Drake. But when he's like emotional, what's there to get
Yeah, I
emotional
know.
about?
Even I
"Oh,
was like
boy."
Stoops when they did the Stoops thing and like his dad gave him like a big hug. I was like, man, that's cool, And Eddie, you were right there. I saw you videoing it down there. You probably got some great.
I was just saying hi to Carol.
Yeah, Carol did get emotional, didn't she? I think that's what Brent said.
Was she?
Yeah.
I think
really
Carol's the
couldn't
one
tell.
that slaps them around if they get emotional.
Oh, 100%.
Just stop it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Suck it up.
He's going to play in the
Suck it
NFL.
up.
I'm convinced though he's going to play in the NFL.
Oh, I mean
He'll be Brock Purdy's go-to receiver.
the
in a
little
couple
hook
years.
route that he had today where he circled around, just blew off the defender. Like, he got so much separation on that, and then he got downfield and was like, okay, he's going to be able to play in the NFL.
How about the catch he made on the sideline?
The
to get to
two-footer?
2 feet in.
Tiptoe?
I mean, that's an elite play.
Yeah, it was really good. And, who knows in his mind if he was thinking, hey, let me show the NFL that I get both
He's
feet
also
down.
tough as shit, man. I mean, he takes some hits and he just keeps getting up.
Look, it ended up being, I think, one of all of our favorite careers that we watched.
Yeah.
Just grow up in front of us. I mean, started off as a guy that was just kind of a contributor to becoming one of the biggest weapons this last half of the season on the entire team. And yeah, I mean, the thing about Drake too, though, is like when you look at him up close and amongst other football players, he's a really small guy, like really small.
Yeah.
But he
I think
has
that's what makes it so impressive.
so much, just fight.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's amazing.
He's a badass.
Yeah.
Really cool story. And it was awesome to see like his final catch in Norman.
And I saw too
is a touchdown. It's awesome.
It was also cool. You mentioned the story I wrote this week. Mike Stoops was liking a lot of my tweets, which I thought was cool. And he's following along.
You're almost
and-
hitting 20,000 on the Twitter
I know. I told you.
subscriptions.
I told you by the end of the season we'd get there. So we're close.
Got about
bowl game.
70,000 left.
You
We're
guys
just
are
going back at it.
You guys had. I will say this. You guys kicked ass this week. We had a very compressed week. Now it's pretty clear that you guys are going after each other and you're just sick of each other.
Well, I think it's also the season. The
Eddie's gotta
season's
take
over.
a piss because he's drinking so much beer.
I think the season it's worn on us. I've had to travel with him. I mean, let's be honest, Kerry. He just left the room. He's a little bit of a crazy person.
I always found that he was very easy to travel with, though.
Oh, he is. But people think, he says some, off the wall stuff on the pod. You should hear what he says off the pod.
Well, you got to wait till he's here to say that, and then you got to bring up some conspiracy.
Yeah, I know. Well, but he's, Eddie works harder than I think a lot of people realize.
I think you both work a lot harder than anyone realizes. So,
well, thank you, Kerry. You do too.
I know. I'm the one here turning out the lights every night. I think you and Eddie are actually the only ones that do know because you're the only ones that get the report when I turn on the security. Yeah,
I do. I get it, but it's been a fun year. I mean, it's been good to be back. I feel like I've become a little bit of a.
Jontavius is down. Uh-oh.
Yeah, he got hit pretty good there, but it's weird getting.
Jontavion.
After the games, people start yelling my name from the crowd.
Really? That's happening now?
Yeah. It's usually when I'm with Eddie because they're like, oh, there's the other guy with him. And they're like, George, that's George, right? And I'm like, yeah.
How was your instant reaction tonight? I haven't seen it yet.
Great. I thought it was really good. Went over a lot of stuff. I don't know how long it ended up being, but it was good stuff. So I'm going to miss doing the instant reaction. Me and Eddie are going to have to come up with some stuff to do in the off season.
Don't worry. We're already planning more.
Oh, I know. We talked about it, National Signing Day. We could do some big stuff and portal. I mean, there's going to be a lot of transfer portal news.
No, there's no doubt, with podcasting and YouTube, it's only going to continue getting bigger and better. And we'll just be doing some other stuff and maybe some off the wall stuff, but just because the season's ending doesn't mean that, the YouTube channel is going to go cold. There's going to be a lot of stuff.
Bob will be on soon with all the basketball stuff.
Start ramping up our basketball stuff, which, fortunately there's going to be interest now, 6-0.
I might have to, Bob, I don't know if Bob will like this, but I might have to hop over and help out a little bit because I love some college hoops when it's a good team.
I think there's some new blood coming in that would take offense to you doing that.
That's fine.
So maybe you can,
Everybody's gotta
sit in the control room and yell at people.
I'm down with that. Teach me how to use the control room.
I don't think you can do it, just to be honest.
That's fine. I don't really want to do it.
So anyway, Eddie has made it back from the bathroom.
Good trip.
It was a great year, Eddie.
It was a really good trip.
It was, getting to go to Provo for the first time. I think, personally, I'm just glad to see Brent kind of come back after last year, throw out the 10-2, to have people believe that this thing is headed in the right direction, holding the recruiting classes together.
I hope that people realize how good of a kind of a turnaround this is, and they don't take the mindset of, well, the schedule was easy. They were supposed to win 10 games.
And they lost 2 games they shouldn't have lost.
Right.
Yeah, and there's just small things. You can look at metrics, whatever you want. Those numbers they're all better this year, but I think it's
like Parker talked about on the
he was actually
preview.
Stunned when he looked up that mid-pod.
Yeah. But, I think you look at other small things, the way the team responded after losing 2 games. I mean, last year's team would have folded. They win, what was it, 3-2 in one-score games this year. I thought Brent was better with his timeouts. He was bad at times, too. He's still learning there, but he was better than he was a year ago. And I just think that they took a big step this year, and winning cures all. And I also think, like you said, Eddie, sure, the schedule was easy on paper. I still think the Big 12 had some teams that were better than we anticipated. I mean, West Virginia was a good football team. OSU turned out to be better than we thought. Kansas ended up being pretty good. I mean, Texas could be playing the college football playoff, and Oklahoma beat them. SMU's going to win 10 games. Arkansas State made a freaking bowl game.
I think this is the most exciting time in the history of OU football with the move to the SEC.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, getting to know kind of our SEC brethren a little bit. Yeah. We know Dari Noka really well, but, just other website people. I mean, when we went to the SEC Media Days, that was the cool thing about it, is realize, okay, there are a ton of people, there are a ton more people that have been doing what we've done in the Big 12, but there are just more of them, and it's a bigger deal. It's a bigger audience.
Sure.
So,
also, I don't want the season to be
on Unofficial 40. I can't wait.
That would be awesome.
We're going to do that. Yeah.
We could definitely get him on the
100%
YouTube show. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I just don't want it to be over, man. I hate when the season ends because it's
but let me stop you there though. Everybody realize this. There's still a shit ton left to go.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, we've got the portal season. We've got coaching search stuff. We've got early signing day. I mean, there's so much. We always we say it, but this is the time of the year where really football doesn't end.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they do in the portal because there are positions that you probably don't have to hit. It's like linebacker. You probably don't need to go to get a portal guy.
No.
But there are positions on this team that they need to get some answers, whether it be offensive line going into next year.
A defensive line.
Defensive line. We'll see, and there's a lot of decisions to be made. Billy, Danny, technically Woody could come back if he wanted to. I don't think he's going.
Jacob Lacey's one to watch.
Jacob
DJ
Lacey was
Terry.
somebody that walked today.
Yeah, DJ Terry and Jacob Lacey are the two on the defensive line. If they could get those two to come back, they could kind of fill that Jordan Kelly, Isaiah Coe role that they did this year, where you just have two veteran guys that are really sound.
Sure.
And Terry might be their best interior defensive lineman this year. I mean, he ended up being really good for him here in the back half.
By the way, there was a nice play made by R. Mason today. I mean,
yes.
That's
Eddie
one
brought
thing.
that up.
Yeah, George and I talked about that earlier. Today was the first time that it felt like R. Mason Thomas was the guy that everybody thought he was going to be.
And I mean, it's exciting to think about what he could be moving for, along with PJ and maybe
PJ
Trace
Adebawore
Ford
played
comes
a
back
lot
for
today.
a second.
I don't know what the snap count was, but it seemed like he played a lot.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I know you guys mentioned that. It's kind of this way. Like they do so much 4-man rush, and unless they get there, it's usually blitzing a guy here and there. But it's not like they're giving the quarterback time to sit back there all day. I mean, they're collapsing the pocket.
Yeah.
They're just not getting sacks.
And I said in the press box today, there's a couple throws that Hoover made where he just got rid of it as he's getting tackled to the ground. I'm like, it feels like that's happened to OU so many times this year where they have the guy and then somehow they get rid of it. It's like it's just somewhat unfortunate at times.
Well,
unlucky.
I think Brent plays it really smart too because he doesn't really start ramping up the pressure until later in the game. Like the Bowman thing, when they played Oklahoma State, he was 12 of 14 in the first quarter. Then they started ramping up the pressure. It's like he kind of takes the mindset of, okay, well, if you're going to beat us, then we'll start ramping up the pressure. But let's just play our base defense and see what you do first.
Yeah.
And I like that. I mean, I like that. Oh, Xavier Worthy's hurt now, too.
Uh-oh. I wondered why they
he
went
got
to commercial.
rolled up on backward. Ooh.
Oh, man.
I mean, that's not like that's just a bad ankle sprain.
Yeah, that sucks.
It's not like a Jordan Travis type. Ooh.
Bad bet, Eddie. Bad bet. Still covering, George.
It's nice that I'm not fighting with anybody in a post game.
I'd beat Eddie's ass.
In what?
Everything.
Fighting?
That's right. That's the right question. In what?
Not Gallagher. I know that.
He missed that. He missed it. No, he made it.
I made it.
Bert. You don't
It went through.
question Bert.
Bert Auburn, man. What a name and what a look for a kicker. Kudos to Zach Schmidt. Made a field goal
Two
today.
field goals today.
2 field goals today. Seriously.
23
One from
and
40.
28? Or 40 and
40.
23?
He made it from 40.
The second one was 40?
Yeah, it was 40.
Yeah.
I don't think I realized that.
He nailed it too. He's got the skill.
He's got a good leg. That's
It's the
thing.
confidence.
Yeah.
I think he got in his head.
Well, and I think that what you've alluded to a couple times, I don't think that the entire operation is very good.
I don't think the hold has been good. They need
Yeah.
to look into that.
We need to get some former, winners of awards and special teams place kicking to come back and maybe have a talking to some people.
One final thought from me.
Who, Gabe? Burkich?
No, who was the Holder guy that won the award?
Connor McGinnis.
Connor McGinnis
Connor McGinnis,
won.
yeah. We need
for
to get
sure.
Connor back
Yeah.
and just rip some
Oh, you're
ass.
just talking about like the Holder in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Connor's living a great life right now. Last I heard, he's making lots of money.
Maybe we go old school,
Very
get like
smart
Jacob
guy.
Rice to come back for the deep snapper.
Hell yeah. That'd be awesome.
One final thought for me. Who would you guys vote? Eddie, do you guys still do this? The media award?
Yeah, I think so.
Who's your vote?
I think so.
For the media award this year.
Man, I think Dillon is really good.
I think so,
like
too.
he never like bullshits, which I think is kind of awesome. I would say
I bet Walter Rouse gets a bunch of votes.
Walter Rouse
gonna
will get a
win.
lot of.
I'm not
he'll
gonna
get a lot of it.
I love Walter. I think he's fantastic.
He's a very outgoing person.
Yes, I just
He's a thoughtful person.
I think though of who was the person you go to when things were bad and they gave you the answer that you were looking for, or not maybe not what you're looking for, but they
no matter what happens, good or bad, they're always there to talk to you straight.
And I think that's Dillon.
Dillon, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the one that stood there
He took
35 minutes after practice
24.
one day, or 24 minutes after practice one day, after the Bedlam
After
loss.
telling
Yep.
George he didn't know when he asked if
Yeah.
you could write the ship.
He was always honest with us. Dillon, to me, he is the rightful winner for that award.
I would agree with that.
I would say this.
They had a lot of
I think
good
people should be
candidates, though.
appreciated for being available. Like Woody Washington was always
Woody,
available.
The guys in the conversation for me are Woody, Danny, Dillon, Walter, Drake.
Ethan Downs was always available.
Honestly,
when you wanted
it's
to
the
talk to him.
captains. It's
Yeah.
the captains for the most part. Jaden Gibson was phenomenal.
Yeah.
When he spoke, I think Peyton Bowen's going to end up winning the award by the time
I
he
could see that.
graduates.
He's very straightforward, doesn't bullshit. Yeah.
Anyways,
All right. It's a final 69-45. Sooners finish 10-2. Texas is up fairly,
20-7.
they've got it in control right now. So it looks like you're going to be waiting for Oklahoma State to, possibly get knocked off by BYU tomorrow. But if not, guess what? You may not go to the Big 12 championship game, but you have righted the ship. If you're Brent Venables, things looking good. You got a great recruiting class coming in. You got a 5-star quarterback waiting in the wings. I think if anything we learned this year, guys, is Nick Anderson is capable of being another big-time receiver. You pair him with Andrell Anthony. Jaden Gibson is on the verge of that.
I'm going to throw this out there real quick.
Mm-hmm.
There's a quarterback in college football, 4,033 yards, 42-6 touchdown to interception ratio.
42-6?
42-6.
A current quarterback right now.
A current
playing.
quarterback. 4,033 yards. Who is it?
With 42 touchdowns?
42
this season,
Yes.
it's not Jaden Daniels.
Dillon Gabriel.
He doesn't have 42 touchdowns?
Are you talking about
You're
total?
talking about run and pass?
Run and
Okay.
pass.
I was going to say
Yeah.
he has 27.
But truly,
No, I mean, it counts. I mean,
those
you have 42
numbers-
touchdowns, yeah.
he had a hell of a year.
No, again, it goes back to what we said at the top. What more does he need to do? He can't do any more to improve his draft stock.
No.
I mean, he played, and and credit to him, man, because all offseason he got so much shit. I mean, the whole narrative was, "Hey George, when's Jackson going to be the starter? Is it by game 5? Do you think by the Texas game Jackson's going to be the starting quarterback?" And Dillon's gone out and played way better than I thought he would.
This is what I want to leave on with Dillon, and in my appreciation for what I've seen of him the last couple of years. And we've got to know him, pretty well. He's come in here a little bit and done some stuff for NIL stuff. And he's always just such a chill dude. I think we love that about him. Like, I don't know what it is with the Oklahoma and Hawaii kind of just laid backness, but they kind of get each other, I think. And Dillon clearly seemed a year ago like a guy that he felt the pressure of the spotlight of playing at Oklahoma. It wasn't anything he'd ever experienced before. It affected him in a negative way. And I think all the mistakes that he would make felt magnified to him. And the way he transitioned from that to this year, to where he really kind of learned to deal with the magnitude of being at Oklahoma.
He kind of said that today, too.
Well, he was talking about, what God does for you and how he put you in the play. And I think he was, kind of using religious things to explain it, but just like mentally, I appreciated the way that he made that transition and embraced it and stopped, letting it affect him negatively.
I think he grew up a bit and matured. And I think it also tells you, too, that I'm not saying Dillon's going to go and be some great NFL quarterback, but I do think what you saw this year is that he can mentally stick, because a lot of it in the NFL, especially at that position, it's a lot of mental battles. I think he mentally can go through the ups and downs of an NFL season in terms of, being a backup or being on a practice squad and giving himself a chance to stick in the NFL for a bit. Because I also think he has, look, is he going to be the most talented guy? No, but he's a smart player, and he can put the ball in a place in certain places. I mean, I think this year showed a lot to NFL teams that he has a chance to play.
I mean, you end up on a team like the Jets or something, or the Giants, where they lose their quarterback and you're the backup, and you come in and
I think he
you're
needs
able
to go
play
somewhere
well.
that he doesn't have to walk in and be the guy.
Sure. Oh,
like
100%.
he's not
like
going
a-
to be drafted for that situation.
Yeah, and I don't think
Sure.
he'll ever be the guy anywhere.
Yeah.
But I do think he's somebody that, like, he reminds me sort of like
Can he be a Chase Daniel?
That's exactly who I was thinking of, Chase Daniel. Like,
Well, think about Landry Jones and I always forget OSU's quarterback.
Brandon Whedon,
No,
Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph. Like, they were able to go and be in NFL teams for years before they were ever.
Made a great living.
Yeah, made a great living. But at some point, the quarterback goes down, and you have to go in and show whether you can do it or
Sure.
not.
You got to be ready.
Right. I mean, and it's the same thing. It's what's the guy from North Carolina that was with the Bears? Started out. He was really high draft pick. Quarterback before Justin Fields.
Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky. It's like, he got thrown in the spotlight really fast and didn't adjust. You're right, though. Dillon needs to go somewhere where he can, whether it's a practice squad or just a backup for a couple of years, and just learn the NFL. Like, that's his best chance for success.
And I do think
It's not
he'll get
coming
an
back to college
opportunity.
for an
He'll
extra
definitely
year.
he'll get drafted.
Yeah.
He's good enough to get drafted. I mean,
I hope Drake does.
Ian Book got drafted a couple years
I hope
ago.
Drake gets drafted. That'd be fun.
I do, but I also think that it wouldn't hurt to just pick where you want to go.
Yeah, sure.
For him.
Yeah. Patriots.
I would go to the 49ers if I were him.
Well, that'd be awesome.
I mean, everybody would want to go
Yeah.
to the 49ers.
No, I know. I'm just saying I think Kyle Shanahan would find a way to use him.
Well, maybe. Well, there's too many of those type of receivers with the Rams right now, but Cooper Kupp can't stay healthy. So, all right. I think
I have
we've
some
reached,
breaking news.
Oh, really?
Former police officer Derek Chauvin, convicted of killing George Floyd. Maybe you heard of it. Seriously injured in a knife attack in prison. So there you go. I know. I knew that
kids.
George is a big Derek Chauvin guy. So. Didn't you go as him as a sexy Derek Chauvin at Halloween?
I don't even know what that would look like, but I don't want to see it. All right. Thank you for the beers, Eddie. Appreciate it.
You bet. No problem.
Thank you to George. Thank you for being with us all season. And wherever we go in the bowl game, if it's not in Arlington next week, Eskridge Lexus will be there for us and for you. So check them out at eskridgelexus.com. Until then, until whatever is decided OU's next game is in the postseason, we will be back with another edition of the Eskridge Lexus postgame podcast right here on Soonerscoop.com.